The headlights barely reach 15 feet before the snow swallows them whole. Out here on a logging road that hasn't seen maintenance in years, the storm doesn't just fall, it erases. Every branch, every tire track, every sense of forward or back disappears into white static. Somewhere in this frozen nowhere, two lives are running out of time. The rescue truck crawls forward, wipers beating uselessly against the windshield. Inside, 3 volunteers from the Northern Wildlife Recovery Center sit in tense silence, their breath fogging the glass. They'd gotten the call 2 hours ago. Hikers reported seeing what they thought were injured, lynxes huddled together off the old timber route. The description was vague, the coordinates approximate, but in weather like this, approximate might as well mean impossible. "There," says the woman in the passenger seat, pointing toward a gap in the pine trees where the forest opens into a shallow ravine. The driver kills the engine. The sudden quiet is total. No birdsong, no wind through branches, just the muffled weight of snow pressing down on everything that's still alive and everything that's already gone. They step out into knee-deep drifts, the cold hitting like a fist to the chest. The lead rescuer, a man named Daniel who's been doing this for 16 years, moves toward the tree line with a flashlight in one hand and a thermal blanket in the other. His boots crunch through the crust. His breath comes in short clouds. Behind him, the others follow, scanning the ground, the brush, the gathering darkness. Then he sees them, 2 small shapes pressed into a hollow where the snow has drifted against a fallen log. At first glance, they look like a single mass. One body draped protectively over another. No movement, no sound. Daniel's stomach drops. They're too late, but as he kneels down, lowering the flashlight, he notices something. The faint rise and fall of breath beneath matted fur. A shiver so slight it could be the wind, but isn't. "They're alive," he says, barely louder than a whisper. The team moves fast now, careful but fast. They ease the first animal, a female bobcat, not a lynx, onto a thermal blanket. Her eyes flutter open for a moment, unfocused and glassy, then close again. Her body is skeletal beneath the fur, ribs pressing against skin like piano keys. Frostbite darkens the tips of her ears, but she's breathing. The second one is smaller, younger, another bobcat. His coat is just as ragged, his paws raw from walking through ice. When they lift him, he doesn't resist. Doesn't even lift his head. What strikes Daniel most is the way the female had positioned herself. Her body curved entirely around the male, her head tucked over his, as if she could shield him from the storm itself. Even now, as they separate them into insulated carriers, she tries to twist back toward him, a low guttural sound escaping her throat. "Easy, girl," one of the rescuers murmurs, stroking her head gently. "You're safe now." The truck's heater roars to life as they load the carriers inside. Daniel checks vitals, heart rate slow but steady, body temperatures dangerously low. He starts an IV line for the female, warm saline dripping through the tube. The male gets the same. Outside, the blizzard intensifies, as if the forest is angry they've taken something back. They're 20 minutes into the drive when it starts. The female shifts restlessly in her carrier, her breathing changing, shorter, more deliberate. She grunts softly, her sides heaving in a rhythm that doesn't match exhaustion. The rescuer in the back, a woman named Sarah, leans closer, her headlamp catching the way the bobcat's abdomen tightens and releases. "Daniel," she says slowly, "I think she's contracting." He glances in the rearview mirror. Contracting, she's in labor. The truck goes quiet again. But this time it's not the silence of snow, it's the silence of people holding their breath, realizing they're no longer racing against the cold. They're racing against biology itself. Sarah watches the female closely, her gloved hand resting lightly on the carrier's mesh. Every few minutes the bobcat's body tenses, her claws flexing against the blanket, her eyes squeezed shut. She doesn't cry out, doesn't thrash, she just endures, the way wild things do when there's no other choice. "How far out are we?" Sarah asks. 40 minutes, Daniel says, pressing the accelerator as much as he dares on the icy road. "Maybe 35 if the roads clear up." They don't clear up. The storm follows them the entire way, the truck sliding once then twice, before Daniel regains control. In the back, Sarah keeps talking to the female in a low, steady voice, not because the animal understands the words, but because silence feels wrong. The male bobcat, curled in his own carrier, occasionally lifts his head toward hers, his ears twitching at each sound she makes. Sarah watches him, and something clicks. She wasn't protecting him from the storm, she says quietly. She was protecting something else. Daniel meets her eyes in the mirror. He doesn't need to ask what she means. The female's breathing quickens again, her body curling inward, and Sarah realizes with a strange, heavy certainty that this bobcat has been carrying more than just her own survival through the frozen woods. She's been carrying the future, fragile, impossible, and refusing to let go. The headlights cut through one final wall of white, and then the recovery center's lit windows appear through the trees like a beacon. The truck pulls into the bay. The team is already waiting, alerted by radio, their faces tense with purpose. As they lift the carriers out, the female looks up one last time, not at the people rushing around her, but at the dark shape in the carrier beside hers, her companion, her witness, and somewhere beneath her ribs, beneath the frostbite, and starvation, and the miles of snow she's crossed, 3 tiny hearts beat in time with hers. The warming room smells like antiseptic and wet fur. Heated pads hum beneath towels as the team works quickly, methodically, checking temperatures, administering fluids, monitoring vitals every 3 minutes. The female, now named Mara by the intake coordinator, lies on her side, her breathing labored but steady. In the adjacent enclosure, her companion watches through the mesh, his yellow eyes unblinking. 2 hours pass, then 3. Mara's contractions intensify just after midnight. Her body, already pushed beyond what should be survivable, finds some deeper reserve, something older than cold, older than hunger. The room fills with a tension no one speaks aloud. Every minute feels borrowed. Sarah stays with her, kneeling beside the enclosure, whispering encouragements that mean nothing to the animal, but everything to the humans who need to believe they're helping. The companion bobcat paces now, low growls rumbling in his chest, his nose pressed to the wire that separates them. He knows. Somehow, he knows. Come on, Mara, Sarah breathes. You didn't survive that storm for nothing. The first kitten arrives at 12:47 a.m., a small wet bundle barely the size of a human hand, trembling in the straw. Mara turns immediately, instinct overriding exhaustion, and begins cleaning the kitten with slow, deliberate strokes of her tongue. Its first cry is thin but insistent, a sound that fills the silent room like a prayer answered. 15 minutes later, the second, then against all statistical probability, a third. 3 kittens, all breathing, all moving. The rescue team stands motionless, watching. No one claps, no one cheers. There's a sacredness to the moment that doesn't allow for celebration, only witness. This isn't a victory, it's a continuation. Life choosing itself when death had every logical claim. Mara curls her body around her newborns, her ragged breathing finally beginning to slow. Across the wire, her companion settles onto his haunches, his growling replaced by soft chirps, a sound bobcats make to communicate safety, recognition, bond. Daniel checks the kittens one by one under a warming lamp, hearts strong, lungs clear, instincts intact. When he places them back beside Mara, she pulls them close with one massive paw, her eyes half closed, her body finally allowing itself to rest. Sarah leans back against the wall, her hands shaking now that the adrenaline is fading. Beside her, another rescuer wipes his eyes quickly, pretending it's exhaustion. Outside, the storm is still raging, but inside this small warm room, something else has won. Week 1, the kitten's eyes open, 3 pairs of blue-gray pupils tracking movement for the first time, wobbling toward the sound of Mara's low purr. The companion, still separated by mesh, but never more than a few feet away, watches every moment, his head tilting when the kittens cry, his body relaxing when they nurse. Week 3, the first playful pounce. 1 kitten ambushes its sibling's tail, tumbling into the straw. Mara intervenes immediately, teaching the lesson wild mothers have taught for millennia: play, but know when to stop. The team documents it all: stalking behaviors, fear responses, climbing attempts, every instinct catalogued, every wildness honored. The staff begins calling them the Snow Family, not officially, just quietly, among themselves when they gather at the observation window during morning rounds. The once silent rehab center hums with new energy now. People linger longer, smile more. There's something about watching life insist on itself that makes the difficult work feel lighter. By week 6, Mara has regained most of her weight. Her coat gleams again, her movements fluid and sure. She teaches her kittens to hide when footsteps approach, to freeze at unfamiliar sounds, to climb the platforms in their enclosure with silent precision. Every lesson is deliberate. Every moment is preparation for a world she hasn't forgotten, even here. But as the kittens grow stronger, the reality settles over the team like snow accumulating on branches, slow, quiet, inevitable. These walls cannot be their home. This warmth cannot be their future. Daniel begins the transition protocol. They're moved to a larger, naturalized enclosure, logs and brush and hiding places, minimal human contact. The companion goes with them, and for the first time since the rescue, the family is together. He grooms the kittens with the same gentle precision Mara uses, standing guard while they sleep, chirping softly when they venture too far. Sarah watches from the monitoring station one evening as Mara sits at the enclosure's edge, looking toward the tree line beyond the fence. Her posture is different now. Not tame, not grateful, just aware. When she turns back toward the kittens, something in her gaze makes Sarah's chest tighten. This isn't dependence. It's readiness. The team knows what comes next. They've known since the night of the birth. Some bonds aren't meant to be kept, only honored long enough to heal. Spring arrives the way it always does in the north. Slowly, then all at once. The snow retreats into shadows. The forest floor softens. By late April, the same ridge that nearly claimed them is green and alive again. The rescue truck stops at a clearing overlooking endless pines. Daniel cuts the engine. The doors open. The air smells like wet earth and new growth. Mara steps out first. She pauses at the carrier's edge, her head lifting to catch scents the center could never replicate. Pine resin running water. Prey moving through underbrush. Behind her, 3 half-grown kittens tumble out, their spotted coats already blending into dappled sunlight. They stay close to her, instinct telling them to wait for her signal. The companion emerges last, his movements deliberate and sure. He moves to Mara's side, and for a moment they stand together, 2 survivors who carried each other through impossible cold. Then Mara turns, just once, just briefly. Her eyes find the humans standing by the truck. The ones who warmed her, fed her, gave her time. There's no gratitude in her gaze, no understanding of rescue or debt, just a final look, the way wild things acknowledge the world before moving through it. She turns toward the trees. The kittens follow. The companion falls in beside them. Within seconds their spotted coats fade into shadow and light, 4 shapes becoming forest, becoming gone. The rescuers stand without speaking. Daniel's hands rest in his pockets. Sarah watches the empty ridge until her vision blurs. No one says what they're feeling. There's no need. 6 weeks later, a motion-triggered camera captures them. Mara leads her young through a clearing where snowmelt still pools in the hollows. The kittens are larger now, more confident, their movements copying hers. The careful placement of paws, the pause before crossing open ground. The companion brings up the rear, vigilant as always. They're thriving, they're wild, they're exactly what they were always meant to be. The team watches the footage late one night, gathered around Sarah's laptop in the break room. Someone smiles, someone wipes their eyes. No one speaks until the clip ends, and the screen goes dark. Daniel closes the laptop quietly. She made it, he says, but Sarah shakes her head, her voice soft. She was always going to make it. We just gave her time. Outside, spring rain taps against the windows. Somewhere in the forest, a mother teaches her young to hunt, to survive, to choose life even when the world offers every reason not to. She had been rescued once, but what she truly needed was the chance to rescue her own.